Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another podcast episode with Brittney Bundles. You are listening to the Brittney Bundles podcast, and today I want to talk about restructuring a business that wasn't built on the right foundation. Restructuring a business that was not built on the right foundation. Now, oftentimes on my YouTube channel at Brittney Bundles, as well as on this podcast, Brittney Bundles, we talk very, very frequently about the importance of building on the right foundation, about the importance of implementing the right principles into your business. We talk about and break down how businesses can definitely impact our lives and also others' lives. We talk about the impact that businesses can have based on how they are built. A lot of people focus strictly on the money aspect. They start at the top and don't really want to get down to why their business is how their business is. This is a common practice that I would hear and also see when I was working in corporate America. I would see a lot of things that were flawed in systems and in companies that I worked with. And the leaders would think that by ignoring the smaller issues and tackling only the bigger issues, success would come. The business would be better. The churn rate would decrease. But what I learned from watching a lot of people in power make those decisions is that if you don't get down to the very basics, even the smallest issue that you may see at the time and think, okay, this is really small. But if you don't get an understanding of exactly where your business is going, how it got there, where it's currently at, it's very challenging to make a plan to actually move forward. It's challenging to make a plan and to make a way out of someplace if you don't know where that someplace is. Recently, my children and I went up to the mountains. We went up to the Rocky Mountains and had a great time. And I can let you know that it was challenging finding our way back to the cabin, especially when my phone wasn't cooperating, okay? It was challenging because I didn't know where we were. I mean, of course, I knew we were in the mountains, okay? I knew we were in Tennessee, but other than that, I wasn't familiar with the area. I didn't know where we were. I wasn't really paying attention as closely as I should have to landmarks. I was more so focused on sightseeing. And I was excited. And so a lot of things that I maybe should have paid attention more to, I just didn't, because I was relying on my phone to tell me where I should go. I was relying on GPS. And a lot of us do that. A lot of us rely on different things. We rely on different people to tell us what we should do. We rely on different advice and different blogs and different articles to tell us what we should do. But we're not really focused on paying attention to where we're at, what we're passing, what we're doing, because we're busy sightseeing. We're busy looking at the accolades that we're getting from our business. We're busy patting ourselves on the back or getting pats on the back from others. Like I said, the accolades. We're too busy worrying about how much money we're going to make. We're too busy being disappointed in the money that we did not make to really stop and see, where am I at? Because if I can understand where I'm at, then I can better understand where I'm going. Where am I at? And so a lot of us, when we figure out that it's really important to pay attention not only to the bigger picture of your business, but also to the small and what may seem like minute details in order to really build a strong foundation for your business, we realize that, some may realize that I'm in the wrong industry. This is not for me. Some may realize that, wow, this is actually for me, but I have not been setting my business up on the right building blocks. And so I'm here to tell you that it's not too late to reconstruct a business that was not built on solid ground. Because a lot of us don't even realize that our business is not built on solid ground until we get further into business, until we devote and commit more time to our business, until we become more mature in our business, before we become more confident in our business. We don't know. We're new. It's exciting. It's fresh. It's different. And so you learn as you go, which is normal and which, I'm happy about. I'm happy about the journey and the lessons that I learned along my way. And so one thing that I've learned, like I mentioned, is how to reconstruct my business after it wasn't built on the strongest foundation. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. Go ahead, get ready. We're going to get into another Brittney Bundles podcast episode in a minute. Let's talk. Okay, we are back. We're ready to talk. So we've been talking about building on the right foundation. But the question today is, how do I reconstruct this business? Because I know it wasn't built on the right foundation. One thing that I want to point out, the first thing that I want to start with is get right. See, in order for me to know not only where I'm at and to be able to decide where I want to go, because it's a choice. You don't just 9 times out of 10 happen to fall into success in your business. You don't just happen to fall into what you consider financial security. You don't just happen to fall into good credit. Now, everyone has different scenarios and different life setups. And, some people do have the lifestyle where they say, you know what, look, everything that I've wanted, I just fell into it. And I really didn't have to put too much work into it. I'm sure there's some people out there that have that story. But for me and for a lot of people that I work with, we just don't have that same story. I don't have a story that just goes like I just woke up one day and stumbled into the lifestyle that I have now. I just woke up one day and stumbled into all the experience and wisdom that I have pertaining to my business because, it just fell into my lap. I can't say that. And I'm proud that I can't say that. Why am I proud that I can't say that? Because it's my story and it's my testimony. See, one thing that I love about life in general is the fact that we all have individual, unique testimonies. And our testimonies aren't just for our gain. Our testimonies aren't just so that we can sit back and chuckle from time to time. Our testimonies aren't just so that we can have dreams and constantly relive them in our mind, but our testimonies are to help others get past or get through or get closer to what it is they need to do as well. And so if we use the gifts that God has blessed us with, if we use the testimonies, if we use the journey, if we use our stories, if we use our wisdom and our information, it can make a huge impact to a lot of people in the world. But the first thing that we need to do is make sure that we're right. I don't understand where I'm at if I'm not looking in the right mind frame. If I would have gone to the Rocky Mountains, not sober, not in my right mind frame, depressed, I may have not even been thinking about, okay, shoot, my phone is not really acting right. What else can I do? Should I try my other phone? Can I pull up? Should I get directions? Should I stop for a moment? What should I do? I wouldn't have had those productive thoughts to get me to the next place, the problem-solving skills that I needed if I wasn't right. You have to be right within to know and have a full understanding of where you're currently at in your business. 10,000 people can tell you where you're at. But if you're not in the right mind frame to conceive and to understand and to really rationalize and make sense of where you're at and catch your own balance, it's going to be very challenging for you to really understand where you're at. Someone can constantly tell me, Brittney, you're on this road and you got to take a couple blocks to get over here. But if I'm not thinking correctly, if I'm not stationed correctly, if my mind is not in the right place, I still may not get to the destination that I'm wanting to get to. So the first thing that we need to do is get right. So how do we get right when we're wanting to restructure our business? One way that I get right with my business is I look at my analytics. I'll be posting a video on my YouTube channel today, actually, at Brittney Bundles, about diving into the analytics of your business. Because that's something that I talk about very frequently, but when I talk about it, it sounds like it's just cliche. Analytics, look at your traffic and look at what's going on with your website. But no, how many of you have really taken the time to look at how your business is doing? And I'm not even just talking about on the financial aspect, but really how your business is doing. It's very important for us to make sure that we're up to date and current on how our body is functioning, right? I'm a homeowner. So recently I got a call from the insurance company saying, we want to renew the homeowner's policy, but I'm going to need you to send pictures over of your furnace and also of your water heater, because we want to get a good idea for how old those are if they're working correctly, and if they're not working correctly, or if they're too old, then we're going to need a statement from a licensed contractor stating that they're still in good working condition, or your policy may be canceled or may go up. It may not be able to be renewed again. And so it's very common for us to have to know the condition of certain things in order for us to move forward or to even renew certain things in our life. Like I said, I can't even renew my homeowner's policy or insurance until they know exactly what position certain things are in my home. There are some sports that you can't play unless the doctor checks you out and they know exactly what condition and position you're in internally and externally to see if you're able to go ahead and do that. There are some, even when you're looking for business financing, like I mentioned so frequently, I was a loan officer for over 3 years. And I would look at the health of credit reports, the health of businesses. We would work up loss and profit sheets, profit and loss sheets, whatever you want to call them. But it would give us a full understanding of how that business is doing. And so one thing that I've noticed with a lot of entrepreneurs, especially newer entrepreneurs, and there's nothing really wrong with it, as long as you're growing and you're learning to become better, because we all have to start someplace. When I first started my business, I wasn't thinking about the analytics. Why? Because I really didn't have many analytics. I mean, I had analytics, I had information with my business, but it wasn't as much as I have now. I wasn't able to get as full of a picture as I have now because I just started. So I didn't really have too much traffic. I didn't have too many people that knew about my business. I wasn't getting consistent sales. And so I could look back on my analytics, but my analytics are more full today than they were back then. And even if I would have looked at my analytics, I wouldn't have known what I was really looking for. And even if I knew what I was looking for, I wouldn't really know what to do with the information that I found. And so that's why I do come back to YouTube constantly to share information and insights that I wish I would have known when I first got started in hopes of helping other people. That's one of the reasons that I create this podcast, so that I can share information and insights through my journey and my experiences to possibly help somebody else. So we need to know where we're at in order to know where we're going. Pretty much is what I'm saying in a nutshell. Analytics are really, really important. That's one way that you can get right with your business, by understanding where you are. Even if you just started, don't make the same mistake that I made. I'm asking you, I'm begging you not to. You may not have as much insight through your analytics now because you're just getting started, but still get familiar with the habits. Get familiar with the habits. Healthy habits in your business, in my opinion, can even take you further than business financing. You get into the right motion, the right action steps, the right habits with your business. And those habits are going to typically follow you throughout the lifetime of your business. And because you know and you've been practicing these habits, typically it gets easier as you go along. So the first thing that I recommend doing is figure out where you're at. How many website visitors am I getting? How many abandoned carts do I have? How many emails went to my spam that I didn't check because they weren't in my inbox? How many people DM me, but the DM for some reason didn't alert my phone, and maybe I don't even know the DMs are sitting there? How many people could I have reached out to that I didn't? How many posts did I miss this week? How many captions did I write under my posts that didn't take advantage of promoting my business? And so getting right is an overall shift in our mentality, overall shift in our actions. Not saying that you're not doing anything right now, but we're talking about being better than we were yesterday. That's my challenge every day. I want to be better than I was yesterday. So the next time that I go on a trip, I'm going to be more prepared than I was last time. The next time I open another business, I'm going to be more prepared than I was last time. The next time I do something that I'm afraid of, I'm going to be more prepared than I was last time. So it's all about becoming better. So get right. Ask yourself, what else can I do? What have I been doing? And most importantly, where am I at? Where am I at in my business? So that I can make a clear, concise plan of where I want to go and how I'm going to get from this point to the next. Get right. So check your analytics. Not just your analytics, but also check the overall health of your business. Shopify also does a great job, and I mention Shopify so frequently on my YouTube channel and Brittney Bundles, with letting you know how your store is comparing to other stores that were started around the time that yours was started. So it'll tell you things like 7% of stores that started around the time that you started at have this percentage of abandoned cart emails. So you're doing really good. Keep up the good work. I'd also check my email mailing list. How's that going? How many people are following me and finding my page based on word of mouth and based on the ads that I put out and based on the advertising that I'm doing? So get right in your thinking, get right in your actions, and understand where you are. Also, when people do come to you, how are you replying back? How are you responding? Are you someone that encourages conversation? Are you someone that's polite and pleasant to work with? Are you someone that knows your products and are actually able to sell? Or are you someone that's just selling the product for a quick buck? Because your customers aren't stupid. They're not dumb. They're people just like you, and they understand and can decipher when someone's just doing it for the money. So get right in all aspects of your business. Get found. Figure out where you are. Now, the next thing that I would recommend doing is developing a decisive plan. So once we figure out where we are, the next thing that I would recommend doing is figuring out where we want to go and how to get there. So I knew I wanted to get back to the cabin. I got to make a plan now how to do that, because I can't rely on my phone 100%, at least not this one. I may have to pull out the Galaxy. To the iPhone lovers out there, I may have to pull out the Galaxy, because the iPhone it ain't working like it should be working. But dang, the Galaxy's dead. Ugh. So what do I do now? So it's all about developing a plan. But how many of you know that you develop the best plans when you're in the right mental state? If you're too tired, if you're too stressed, if you're too distracted, if you're not ready, if you don't want to deep down, it's really hard to make a decisive, direct plan. Now, you can make a plan. How many people have gone with people? Say you've been out with your friends or with your family, and people have made plans on how the night's going to go, but it wasn't a clear, direct plan. So when you got out there, you said, okay, we planned on doing this, this, and that, but it never was clear. You don't know who was going to be driving. You didn't know really who was going to pick up the tab. You didn't know if you were all splitting it, if it was going on one place. Didn't really know what time you were leaving this place. It was all just in the wind. We had a plan that we were going to get out, but we didn't have a decisive, direct, clear plan on how things were going to happen and how things were going to go when we got out, and also how we were going to get back safely. It's important to not only create plans, but have a direct plan with everything that we're doing. I don't want anyone on my team that has the habit of just creating plans with no real strategic outline. I need to know not only how I'm going to get someplace, but I want to know step for step. And I want to also have backup plans. So if this initial plan don't work how we anticipate it to work, if my phone happens to die, then how are you going to catch up with me? I want to know that. I want to make sure I'm not hanging. And the same analogy with your business. If this plan doesn't work out exactly how you hoped it to work out, what is your next plan to make sure that your business is still going to move forward? I don't want to be stagnant. I don't have time to be stagnant. Tomorrow is not promised. And so while I'm here today, I want to make sure that everything that I'm doing has an intentional plan. I want to have fun intentionally. I want to spend time with my children intentionally. I want to work my business intentionally. I want to make sure that I'm in good health intentionally. I don't want to just fall and happen into something, because typically when you fall and happen into something, it's not really what you wanted. It's not really exactly how you envisioned it. It's not really fulfilling to you. You may say, I'll take it, because I don't know if there's anything else better out there for me. I don't know if my business would have gotten better than this. I'll take it. But it's really not what you wanted. So develop a decisive plan and also have a backup plan for your business. So once we figure out where we are, okay, so we're a little low on the website traffic this week. Okay, so what I'm going to do is this. And you know what? If that doesn't work, then it's okay. Don't worry. I have this also in plan. I have this in my back pocket too. Now, the third thing that we want to make sure that we want to do is closely monitor operations. So it's not enough just to find out where we are. And unfortunately, it's not enough just to make a decisive plan nor a backup plan. But after you make those plans, we have to monitor to see how things are going. Sometimes you don't know that things are not working well or that things won't work well until you give it time and you actually sit back and observe. How long have you given yourself time to sit back and observe your business, your operations? We are in the mentality that if things don't happen right when we want them to happen, we're done. It didn't work. It doesn't work. It's not a good plan. Let's throw that away and start over. Before we even gave it time to get up and running. You don't know. You don't know yet. So we have to give ourselves time to actually review what we're doing, what we did. I don't know if this idea is going to work well because I haven't given it time to actually come into its full birth. I haven't given it time to actually develop and run and work efficiently as it possibly can. Now, this can be very tricky because you never want to get in a place where you're giving something too much time and you could have used that time to do something else that would have been more beneficial. And so that's why I often say a lot of times in business, it's trial and error because you have to figure out what's going to work best for you. You have to figure out the rhythm of your life, the rhythm of your business, and the rhythm of your operations. Not just in your business, but in your life as well. Your complete operations. To the point that you're no longer working around your business, but your business works around your lifestyle. So I closely monitor my operations. And what that looks like is me setting aside certain time for me to get back in my business. It doesn't mean that you don't have any work to do because you didn't get an order today. That doesn't mean that at all. It may mean that you actually have more work to do today because of that. I talk to so many people during consultations and I'm asking questions and I'm trying to get more information. And it'll go something like, okay, so tell me about what your typical day looks like in your business. And that's not, it's not the same question I ask for every business. It depends on what we're talking about and what their action steps are and what their goals are. But that's a fair question, I think. And so a lot of people say, well, I'm an online business. But what does that mean? What does that mean? People say that as if to say that, okay, I'm online, so I really don't have to do anything unless I have an order. Not true. Not true if you're really building on the right foundation and if you're wanting to restructure your business. If your business wasn't built on the right foundation, it's going to take some work for you actually to get down and find that area that's weak in your foundation. And sometimes it can be hard. Sometimes you actually get to rebuilding your business and you find other areas that you had no idea were broken or no idea that were damaged or no idea that needed more TLC. Just like a home. How many of you know? I know from firsthand experience. I wish I would have known as much as I know now when I first got into home ownership. I wish I would have known that, okay, dang, I can't just call the maintenance man to fix something. And if I call him to fix something such as my fan not working in my room, they may tie that to something else. Man, I didn't know that I had this much going on. Or you may think that it's a very simple problem. I'm just going to go ahead and rip up my carpet and get some other flooring. And they're like, well, if you do that, I don't know if you know this, but this part of the floor looks like it needs, you never know. So when you are reconstructing, you have to go in, or you should go in with the understanding that, I may be thinking that this is the main problem of my business, but I need to make sure that my mind and my eyes are open to all possible problems, to all possible areas of weakness, so that I can start building there. Because sometimes the smallest problem at this moment can end up being the biggest problem. It can end up being the biggest problem. How many of you have had cars before and the paint chips? I know I've experienced this. And it's a small chip at first. And you're like, whatever, it's a small chip. And as time goes on, as you keep getting your car washed and you keep, I live in Michigan, so we get snow. You're scrubbing off the snow you're wiping off the snow on your car. You notice that chip is huge. Every week it seems like it's getting bigger. And so you just have a part on your car, a big patch, a pretty noticeable patch, where the paint's gone. And so it started off as a little problem, grew into something bigger. That's very common. So I don't look at, okay, this is just a little problem. Let me just move past. I'm always going to move past. But I want to make sure that I'm moving past in a way that's not leaving anything behind. So we have to closely monitor operations. Closely monitor what we're doing. Closely monitor how we're doing. Closely monitor what we are going to do. And how can you monitor what you are going to do? By rechecking it in your mind. Brittney, are you sure this is still what we want to do? Are you sure you still want to add this to your website by this weekend? Are you sure that you still want to go ahead with this new service? Are you sure that you still want to do this? Closely monitoring what we're doing and no longer doing things just because we had a quick plan. What's our direct, decisive plan and what's our backup plan? And once we have all that, what time are we going to give ourselves and give our business and our operations to run to see if this is really what we want to do in this way? Now, the fourth tip that I have in restructuring your business that was not built on solid foundation is implement new ideas. Implementing new ideas. It is imperative for my business, I'll just speak for me personally, to come up with new innovative ideas. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm changing my website every month. It does not, because I'm not. It doesn't mean that I'm going to have new products every other week, because I'm not. But it means that I'm constantly working on the back end of my business to see what I can do to make my work process more efficient, to see what I can do to spruce it up on the way that I interact with my customers, to see what I can do to make sure that my business is stronger today than it was yesterday, to see what I can do to come up and implement new processes and new thinking patterns so that I can grow my business healthier than it was even last year. I'm constantly implementing new ideas. Now, when I say implement new ideas, people automatically, a lot of people assume that I'm saying you have to have new products. You have to have a new photo shoot. You have to have this, you have to have that. And too many changes, especially those type of changes, when we're not really focused on the back end of our business and the foundation of our business, really don't stand. There are people that change their website every month and still are not having success with their store or online operations. Because a lot of times it's not about that. You can change your website 80 times and still not get one client. It's deeper than that. It's deeper than the website color that you choose for your background. It's deeper than even the branding material that you choose to wrap your products in. Now, everything matters. Everything matters. Like I said, there's not a such thing, in my opinion, as just a small part of your business that doesn't matter. Of course, there's things in your business that take more precedence and are a higher priority at that time, depending on where you are and what you're doing. However, everything matters, but the foundation is priority. I can't have a house if someone didn't start with the first block, first brick. I have to have that foundation first. It's very hard to build a house if the person didn't know where they were going to build it. Well, where am I starting? It's very hard to build a house if the person didn't have a clear, direct plan and an outline of what they were building. And so these are not uncommon practices. These are practices that a lot of people use in lots of industries in order to be successful. Implement new ideas that are going to help your business move more efficiently. And sometimes some of the best ideas that are implemented, other people don't know. I remember working in corporate America. We would implement and have trainings all the time and implement new ways of communicating with our customers all the time. So customers wouldn't know that we were having meetings that day. They didn't know that we were in trainings, learning how to work our systems more efficiently. So when they called in, we were able to pull it up a lot faster and get them in and out quicker and more efficient. They didn't know that, but they liked it. They liked the feel. They couldn't really put their finger on what changed. I knew, they didn't. So same with my business. Sometimes I know what I changed. Y'all don't. They don't. But you know that when you work with me, I like this. I feel good. I like the process. And so that's what we want. Implementing new ideas on the back end to make sure that our foundation is where it needs to be. The last thing that I'm going to go over in this podcast is live without worrying. And accept that you don't have to know the end result in order to be successful. Like I said before, it's very rare to just happen into success, to just happen into the life that you want, to just happen into financial freedom, to just happen into the car that you want, the house that you want, the life that you want. Like I said, it's just very difficult to just happen into something. And more than it being difficult, it's a chance, it's a gamble that you're taking. When you can choose to say, you know what, I'm going to do everything that I can to move me closer to where I want to be. But we also have to realize that we don't know what tomorrow brings. I don't know how my business is going to be in 5 years. All that I can control is what I can control. All that I can control is what I do. And I know this, just like when I talk about my walk getting closer to God, I don't know how I'm going to sin tomorrow. I know that I'm not perfect, and I know that I will sin in some way. But I do know that with God, I have someone to fall back on. That with God, it's possible. That God has so much mercy and grace and love for me that I can get up and try again. And so I know with my business, I don't know what 5 years holds from now, but I know it's better for my business to be built on a solid foundation than for me to make choices that really aren't going to move me closer to what my goals are. I know that it's better for me to implement love and care and innovation and inspiration and knowledge and wisdom into my business than for me to go and just start a business and put nothing in it, just to hope to get some money out of it. I know that it's better for me to build on not just getting new customers, but for me to also work on repeat clients, because I know that that's more beneficial in the long run than always just having to find new people. I know it's better to work both. Let's get new customers, but also let's not forget about the customers that have been supporting you. Let's not forget about the clients that you've had for years. That was another problem that I witnessed in corporate America. Only focused on retaining, not even retaining, getting new customers and forgetting about retaining. There was about one company that I can say I worked for that was very big on retention. They had a whole department dedicated to it. And even some other companies that called themselves retention didn't really care about retaining customers. And so there's just some things that you know are going to be overall better for your business. So even if you do everything right, like I said before in another podcast, it does not guarantee that you won't have downfalls in your business. It does not guarantee that you won't have issues or problems in your business. But it does say that, okay, when the storm comes, I'd rather be in a house that was built on a secure foundation than to be on a house that I just threw together quickly just to say I have a house. I'd rather be in a business that I know I took my time in, that I know I built on the fundamentals and the right building blocks, than to go ahead and just throw a business together just for the heck of saying I have a business and just for the bragging rights of saying I don't have to go to a 9 to 5. Because it's deeper than that. It's deeper than that. So like I say in every podcast episode, I really hope that you all got something out of this message. I really enjoy what I do. It would really help me a lot and mean a lot to me if you would go ahead and favorite this podcast. Click favor or heart. I've been getting a lot of people that have been favoriting the podcast, and it means so much to me. It also means a lot if you follow me on YouTube, because I don't want our connection to end. There's a lot of information that I go over on my YouTube channel pertaining to business and also fun, just my personal life, to let you a little bit further in my life and me as a person. Follow me on YouTube at Brittney Bundles. I don't want the conversation to end, so you can always email me. My email address is the letter B, Talks, TALKS, @yahoo.com. Follow me on Instagram at Brittney_bundles. That's Brittney, BRITTNEY _bundles, BUNDLES. I'm on Facebook, Brittney Bundles, Twitter, Brittney Bundles, and of course, YouTube at Brittney Bundles. Thanks so much for tuning in to another podcast episode, and I will talk to you all in the next episode. Have a great day.